Steve, before we talk about our show last night, which was an absolute cracker, we got to talk about that magnificent performance by Salford's Marc Leach.
Yeah, Jamie Moore calls him Salfordchenko, doesn't he? And it was a masterclass on Friday night, and I was like saying to the lads, you go down to London and don't forget we was the opponent. We've gone down there into their backyard in the away corner. Frank Warner's man. They wanted us beat, so it's fantastic when you go all the way down there, put on a masterclass and you come back with a win. But what an extra bonus when you're coming back with that Lonsdale belt, which I still think is the best belt in boxing. And
when was our last one?
Do you know what, I was thinking about that, because there was times where we had just British champion, British champion, British champion, and I've not had one for a while, and I couldn't say how long it's been, but it's great that Mark's come back, got a British champion, and we've got kids that we've been working with, similar to Mark, obviously not that sort of style, but who can become British champions. Obviously Mason Cartwright in a couple of weeks' time has got to go at it, but over the next 2 years, I think we'll have someone virtually every division apart from heavyweight who, if not British champions, they'll definitely fight for them.
Yeah, well, without a doubt, mate. That lockdown has been pretty good for us, because, like I say, the signings that you've made have been quality.
Yeah.
So, I'm excited for that. But
the performance, like we say, punch perfect. Probably only got hit about 5 times, and I know Jamie and Nigel have been moaning about the scorecards, and rightly so. But you know, let's just talk about his win.
Well, the one good thing about them talking about the scorecards is they're talking about the fight though as well, and that's good. That's elevated Mark's profile, because that's what we need for him, you know, because he wants those big fights, and you know.
Do you know what? He's been a low burner, as you say, hasn't he? And he's probably a great example for people who are coming through and having difficult times now, because Mark started off, he had a loss on his debut. You know, he actually fought a kid who went on to be a Commonwealth champion 2 fights later on, and it was a difficult debut for him, but he wasn't a ticket seller, and we've kind of slowly moved him on. We've won the English, we had eliminator, we had a final eliminator, we had another final eliminator, and then we got the British title, and it took a long time, and this is the first camp where he's actually had sponsors, so he's not had to work as well, and that'll be a great learning camp for moving him on. You know, I mean, he'll only get better, and it's going to be good fun now. And as we say, he sold quite well at Salford last time, which was his fight before this one. Now he's the British champion. He took quite a few down to London on a Friday night. I think he's going to be an attraction, because sometimes you can watch that style of fighter and not be appealing to you, but because Chris Bogue was so tough and kept coming and coming, I think it made Mark look even better than he is, and I think together with me trying to put a little bit of promotional work into him outside the fights, we can build him up into a bit of an attraction and draw.
Yeah, hopefully. Now, that show last night, it was a hard one for you. I know they've all been hard to arrange, but this one was matched a long time ago. It was all complete, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then over the last few weeks, it kept falling apart.
It was the last week, wasn't it? We lost a couple on the Monday, and we lost a couple more on Thursday. So fair play to Tom for digging in, and we're bringing foreigners. I think we had 4 foreigners in last night on 8 fights. But the show is as good as I think I've done. You know, I'm looking back.
Start to finish,
yeah,
brilliant.
And you know, we didn't have one bad fight, did we? In 8 fights, and
the crowd went wild, didn't they?
We was very fortunate, you know, because some fights we took that you probably wouldn't have took, we couldn't get anybody, and we had 8 winners, and when we looked at the card before, you thought, well, there might be 1 or 2 upsets here. Didn't know where they would be, but they possibly could have been in all fights, and no, it was great. And I just had James Moorcroft here, who come down and watch Jake James, his training partner there with Ant Crawler, and he kind of spotted that everybody stayed, you know.
Right till the end of the night. Everyone
it was full all night long, and that's unusual. And I'm hoping it's because of the pedigree of the fights we stayed in. They didn't want to go and miss one, and you know, all them I'm sure will come again because it was a fantastic night boxing last night.
Well, let's start with the first fight. First fight was a kid making his debut, one of Alex Bianco's boys, Marcus Tomlinson, against a kid who's been on our show a couple of times now, in Josh Cook, and. A really good fight, and do you know something? He's a southpaw, that Tomlinson, but quite a vicious one, wasn't it?
Do you know what? First time I've seen him, and I knew nothing about him. It was his debut, and that Josh Cook is an hard guy to look good at, and it took him a few rounds, didn't it? But you know, after that, it wasn't a bad debut. You know,
no, it was really good.
Good to help get him off.
And then our Johnny Boy Kylie, he came on, and he had one of the foreign imports, Gabo Kovacs or something, and he destroyed him, didn't he?
My type of fighter. I love watching him.
You said that about his debut, didn't you?
Yeah. Just get stuck in, doesn't he? And
no nonsense.
Yeah. My kind of fighter. He's going to be some entertaining fights in, yeah.
Definitely. I was one of my favourites as an amateur when I used to film him. And now I know Greg McGuinness probably isn't everyone's cup of tea, but I really enjoy watching him. He's a throwback to the 1950s. If it was in black and white, he wouldn't look out of place.
No,
in New York.
He's robotic, isn't he? You know what I mean? And again, he just comes forward, doesn't he? And maybe a little bit one-paced and whatever.
But that one pace is persistent.
Yeah.
There's not a second that he's not throwing something.
Yeah. But again, he's just really good fights, isn't he? You know, hopefully he improves a little bit with movement and things as he progresses through the quality of fighters. But you know, he's going to be in some good fights, and that's what we want to see. As I said, last night was great.
And do you know something? He's not afraid either, because that was only his fourth fight, and yet his second 6 rounder. And when I spoke to him after the fight, he wants to do an 8 rounder next.
Wow.
Now, you know, that's good, isn't it? You know, it's a game to test himself. And he came to flying colours because Lee Connolly is a good test, as he proved on our show loads of times for anyone, and he passed with flying colours. And then another kid who is steadily improving. Wasn't a great debut, but then he fought Dale Hammersmith, Reese Woods from Stockport.
Yeah, do you know what, I didn't tell much of that, a few things, and I've not had a chance to speak to Danny about it afterwards, but Reese was saying that Danny was saying like he's thinking of retiring after that fight, so I hope that's not the case, but you know, fair play to Reese Woods. If he's caught him as often as that, well done, because you know Danny's pretty good at holding and getting in close.
Well, you know something, he might smother it, but he doesn't hold that often. And in that fight, he was absolutely, the last 2 rounds, he was clinging on for dear life.
Right.
So he showed from that.
Right. Well, I watched that back later on, which is good to see that these improving, because you can't ask for any more than that to get better each fight, can you?
Totally. And then Mr. Kane Gardner does what he does all the time. He went out and became, it was vicious.
Unbelievable fight, that.
You
know what? When I watched them walk in, the Nigerian had 2 trainers all kitted out, lovely in white, and you think, foreigners don't normally come over like that. And then I noticed there was 3 or 4 people in his entourage who come to sit ringside and cheer him on. You know they come to win then, and he come out, and it was just a punch up from the start to finish, wasn't it? And let's have it right. Even though it was a convincing and good win for Kane, he got chin checked a couple of times, didn't he? And
what was it, 8 wins with 7 KOs and only 1 loss?
But no, fantastic win for Kane, and it's something he needed, and a great fight for the public to watch, wasn't it? You know what I mean? I couldn't take my eyes off it.
They went wild, didn't they? Because it only brings a few fans, but they made some noise, I tell you.
Yeah.
And unfortunate, Luke Evans, his opponent failed his medical.
Yeah. I mean, they had problems with his eye. I don't want to go into too much, but we've had a bit of bad luck, haven't we, over the last 3 weeks? We've had a ringer over here. We've had the board changing the rules last week, and
Yeah.
we hadn't told anybody, so we lost the fight on the day on that one, and obviously we lost the fight last night because the kid had eye problems.
Are you going to try and get him out on the Wigan show on?
Well, we're going to get him out as soon as we can. Yeah, I'm not going to say where yet.
Okay.
We'll definitely get him out. Yeah.
And then we had Elite's Little Irishman. Certainly becoming a bit of a crowd favourite there. He had some noise for him.
Yeah, he sells some tickets and ringside tickets, and he didn't have it his own way, did he? There was parts of the fight where I thought Johnny Phillips was taking over.
This is one of those fights where we thought it might have been a bit of a banana peel, you know.
Banana peel.
You know what I mean? You could slip up on it. But Liam Gaynor, I think he came through with flying colours. I thought it was, the scorecard was, I thought it was 58, 56.
He dug in, didn't he, and come back. And for me, he wasn't like the 60-54, that's for sure. He was a convincing win, but a close one, yeah.
Yeah, it was very entertaining. And then the knockout of the night.
Unbelievable knockout.
He's not normally known for his punching power, known for his boxing skills. But Jake James stole the show with arguably one of the best uppercuts I've seen for a long while.
Absolutely brilliant, wasn't it? He knocked him off his feet and he was gone. And then you hear the bag thud as his head hit the canvas, and you feel the worst, don't you? I got up from where I was and run round, but by the time I got round there, I think the bang on the head had broke him up, and thank God everything was okay. But you know, I wanted to get a good 8 rounds out of Jake last night, which I was expecting. But what a bonus to see that he can pull these sort of shots off. So that's nice to know that he's got that in his locker, because we know he's got the silky smooth things. So
what are you hoping for then, Jake? Because
listen, he'll be fighting in titles in probably before the end of the year, but as I say, I wanted to get a good 8 rounds out of him last night, so next time we'll get him 8 rounds, get him another good tough kid that should get him out from it then, and we can look at doing our assault to titles after that,
yeah. And then Mr. Flatley did what he always does, came in out another ball.
Yeah, great fight. I was a bit worried after the first round, because I noticed the day before the weigh-in, I'd seen some highlights, because obviously I was in London, and then he was bouncing around the changing rooms. He was really up for it, and the first round, well, a few people are saying he didn't win, but for me, he won the first round, and he caught Jack with some beltings and some good uppercuts, and I was getting deja vu of how he was performing in the European Title Challenge, where he was stood in punching distance, not moving his head, and an open guard. And I was worried. I thought, is he not learning? He's going to find out the hard way here. And obviously, you bring him back in the 6th round. It was an 8, he dropped to 6th, didn't it? And you want him to get a win before you put it back on the arse. But I was worried, but he changed his style, got his jab going there, getting his follow-up shots, and 58, 56, might have been 58, 57, but it was around that. He definitely won the fight. Yeah, but I'm saying I might have had it 58, 57, but he was definitely the winner on the night, and what a fight to finish the night off with, wasn't it? Now, everyone who stayed, and most of them absolutely loved it, so I went home really proud of that card that we'd all worked hard to put together. It's just a shame over Luke, yeah.
You know what you were saying before about, we've got opponents that you wouldn't really want, but you wouldn't really normally pick him, because I think his record was 14 wins, 7 KOs, 5 losses, all ever been stopped once and a draw. So this is not the fight that you want to come beat someone back when they've just had a hard European title fight.
When you've got 24 hours to find someone, sometimes you've not got the choice that you would like, but fair play to Jackie, never mind about it, he got in and has a fight, and you know what, he won't do his confidence any harm whatsoever, and if he gets a big fight next, having that behind him rather than like an easy blowout will mean that he'll be better prepared for his next title fight. So yeah, I was pleased for him. He didn't really mark up either, and he got hit with a few. So yeah, well played Flatley, well played everybody who boxed last night. And as I say, I'm proud that we've put on one of the best small halls. I mean, as I say, I was in London the other day. You can't compare the card we had last night with a BC card. Take Marc Leach and Chris Borkow, that undercard. He's a million miles away from what we put online.
Yeah, because those was all very one-sided. Most of those fights, even though we got all the wins, were very competitive.
Yeah, and listen, I don't go around saying, oh, our fights are great, but last night they were, and as I say, you know, some of the stuff that's on TV, nowhere near as good as what we did last night, so it was good.
One last thing, did you get a chance to catch the Conlon Wood fight?
No, obviously we had our own show last night. I've seen the knockdown. I've heard it's a great fight, so let's watch it down there. Obviously Josh fights for his world title on the 26th.
The winner of that fight is a future opponent, isn't it?
Yeah, we made the mistake of overlooking people in the past, so we're talking about anyone but Kiko now. He's on our minds, mate.
Well, we're off our next show Sunday in Hull.
It's Sunday in Hull, yeah. I'm in the office here now trying to clear up the paperwork from last night and then do a bit of engineering work and then battle on with next Sundays because the matching's tough, mate, yeah.
You're mental. But do you know something? I always ask you, why do you do this? And I think it's weekends like this is why you do it.
Yeah, well, last show that was great last night, and you know, as I say, Marc Leach is now the third ever British champion at Salford, and I managed two, him and Jamie Moore. It's nice that Jamie's training me, it's a little thing there, but you know, it's good when you get some satisfaction that you know you've helped a kid who's got exceptional talent, and you know, bigging myself up. It weren't like me involved in him, he'd never have got there, you know, so the satisfaction you get from that is
where
good.
are you from?
I'm from Salford.
Are you a Salford boy as well then? So that makes it even sweeter.
I was born there, but I've lived there like 58 out of my 60 years, so I class myself as a Salford lad, yeah.
Right, well listen, great weekend, and let's hope we have a few more good ones before the end of this month. And March, fingers crossed, could arguably be the best boxing month. Full time ever.
Yeah. Looking forward to what's to come in March.
Right, listen, take care, see you soon.
Cheers, bye.
For all boxing info, news and latest interviews, amateur and pro, across the north, click and subscribe. VIP Boxing Promotions. Also Twitter, Instagram and Facebook.